All right, so we're gonna go over today's trade real quick. Pre-New York. I want to go over it on wants to know how to set up an account. Okay, cool. Got you on that. We'll start with let's start with a clean chart. So just so we can see without all the markups. Let's go with him. And let me do one thing. Pardon me. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start fresh. And let's go to today. And we're gonna clear everything off. And I'm gonna change this guy. Okay, cool. So first thing is on the daily, right? This daily candle was from yesterday, right? And yesterday we had our down move, right? But if you look at this candle right here, and what I teach you guys is this candle is like your threshold, right? From this opening to this wick, right? So this little area right here to here is gonna act like your like final countdown. Like if price can hold between here, it's gonna go down, right? If price were to have broke above this little area right here, that's where you know kind of like it has the potential to go up, especially when we got price opening up and pushing up and failing inside of this wick. You can kind of expect price to go down from there, right? So now if we go from looking at it from a smaller time frame, right? This is the daily, right? You'll notice similar situation, right? Here's that strong down candle in the wick, right? We had already traded below that. Took this out. There's your low right here. Here's your next high right here. So where is your high? It's right here. Right? And in this area is an order block. So we can assume that order block is from here to here, right? But you can dive into this and focus on just the body to body. Sometimes you can look at the candles, but because we got this long wick, you want to pay attention to is this area right here. And if we don't see price trade above this little,
it's clearly been a tightening on property which is going on for some time because
if we don't see price trade above this, we should start getting our idea where the price is going to go from this area right here, even up into this area, right? So if we were to have gotten price to break and close above this, we still had this area right here that it would have had to come up against, right? So we could have took a buy from these highs, but we would have had to get a clean break and close above this, right? But even up to this point where this line is, we still had another area of potential rejection. We also got an old high right here, and this old high pushed us through near this price, right? So once we start seeing this on a higher time frame, these are 4-hour candles, which is why I tell you guys, look at the 4-hour and the daily first, right? This last up candle is Tokyo and Sydney, right? This candle is the start of London, right? This candle is the pre-New York candle, right? This candle is the New York candle, right? So these three candles are where the majority of the traders are going to be trading, right? These three right here. So anytime you see what these candles are doing, it's probably going to give you the idea of what's going to happen here. Same thing happened right here. This is London, pre-New York, New York. We got a retracement. This happened for another reason, but you know, the majority of your moves are going to happen on those three candles: the 1 o'clock, the 5, and the 9. 1 o'clock, 5, 9. It's 1 o'clock, 5, 9. That's where the moves start, right? So if we're in a situation like we were, where the London candle, which held below this area right here, the pre-market candle, same thing, and the New York candle comes up to reject, then you have a situation where you're going to have price push up and reject in that kind of situation. Where is this? Okay. So distracting me. You'll have a situation like what happened this morning. And what you want to do from there is you want to drop down again to the next lower time frame. Okay. Here is the 1 hour, right? We still in this same little area, right? Still can't breach these highs, right? We made this high in London. We made this low in New York. Now, if we see that price is stalling right here, that's our sign. Again, drop down to the next lower time frame, see what's going on, and see if you got an entry, right? You had you had a nice low right here. You had a candle that rejected, but then you had price trade through these huge wicks, and this rebalance in this area right here, right? So again, this is another area. If we can't trade above, then we need to be cautious of this little area too, as we go down to this time frame. So this morning, when we came, we were looking at this low right here and price being at this low right here, right? From the 15-minute. And we were looking at a situation where we were under the impression that price would either take this low out, take this new low out, and then we were looking for a breaking above this area, break it and close below this area right here. Somebody asked me, how do I get the day of the weeks? And let me get the exact question. How do I say this? Souad? Ask about how do I label the weekly on the chart? Souad, okay. And I used to draw it on there myself, but there is an indicator you can use that'll put them on there for you, which is this daily weekly openings by SBT and C. It'll just draw them on there for you, right? But if you don't have them, which I would suggest you kind of get used to doing it yourself at first, so that way you can just understand like what this price means and how you can use it. Let's get rid of him right quick. Is if you go to the 1 hour and you have your sessions lined up on here, you can come here, appearance, session break, and you have, make sure you got those on. And then you're gonna look for the first candle of this session. So this will be this candle. So the opening for this day is right here. Daily opening price right here. The opening for yesterday was right here. Opening for the day before was right here. And today is Wednesday, right? So that's Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, right? So this actually gave us what? This daily opening, because this is actually Sunday, this gave us our weekly opening price and our Monday opening price, right? So this is our weekly opening as well. So what does that mean? That means this. That means that for this week, we are negative for the week, right? And why is that important? It's important because we want to know where the banks are going to be looking at. What are the areas where the banks are going to be looking at? The banks are going to be looking at your weekly high, which is right here. Your weekly low, which was right here, but it got taken out right here. So this is your new weekly low. And within those, they're going to be looking at where your daily high, right here, 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 and your daily lows. Right? These are all areas that you have to pay attention to, right? And, you know, you, like I said, I recommend you draw it on there yourself until, you know, you just get comfortable with, you know, knowing and understanding what these areas are and why they're so important. Because if you had a notice that this was a old high, price traded up and rejected, you would have kind of already seen we were coming down for this week, right? So you can have a bias on this week that we were going to the downside, right? So now, once we kind of establish what's going on within this day, right? So for this day, the high on today was right here. At the time of trading, we made the low for the day right here until it was taken out, right? So let's zoom in again. Let's go to the 15-minute. So now that we established where our highs and our lows are at this given time, now we can use a replay tool. When we came into the market, we were here, right? And the fact that we broke below the daily opening is a sign, hey, we should be going bearish for the day, right? If we break and close below this, then we could see price trade below this low. If price trades below this low right here, we had this short-term low right here that it should trade to. And then ultimately, if it wants to keep going down, this is the low that we have to look out for. If it's going to buy, we need to say, okay, the first thing it needs to take out is this high. And then if it takes this high out, it needs to try to take these highs out. And if it fails at any one of those, I can set up for the sell in that situation. If it fails at this area or this area, I can look to take a buy at those areas, right? So in this case, this is why I kind of was pausing on the buy and pausing and being a little patient, because if you look at it from what was going on, we took out this low right here. Now, this little area right here became a little 15-minute order block right here. We had a high, we had a low, we took out the high of this old high, and we made a new low right here. So this is where you want to consider what happens here, right here. This is where you want to start keying up and noticing, right? So we'll draw some attention to this. We'll draw attention to this area right here. And now that we kind of have an idea, right? We have this little order block, and we also have daily opening price going straight through it, right? So if we're going to look to go to the downside, we're going to have to see price fail this, right? And our idea that this is going to go down has to be, we have to consider this to keep going down as long as it stay below here, right? So price push up from here. Price comes back to this area. It tries to reject, but it doesn't, right? But are we still looking for a sell at this point? Or are we looking for a buy, right? At this time right here, the futures were flat. Like, so you have futures like right around negative, really low negative, could have turned positive, right? So in those cases, you want to pay attention to the futures. And then you also want to, where did you go? You want to wait and see what price is telling you, right? At this high, you can still look to take a sell, right? Or take a buy, right? I think they were looking for a buy at this point, but this high is where you want to pay attention to, right? Now, you can go to the smaller time frame once you're here, this area, and watch what happens here. We had our first little sign, a down movement, right? I'm gonna slow it down right here. And once we got to this high, that was our first sign, right? This is where I initially got us into the trade right here. I thought that we would hold this high or this high, right? And as we didn't get a retest on this, so at worst case, I thought we would sell from here and retest here to go up for the buy. We had the reason for it because at this time, we had this candle right here. This candle is a candle that we would have been looking for to get rebalanced on. And to rebalance a candle, you're going to have a candle like this. It's going to have a wick right here. And it's going to have a body like this. You'll see a candle trade through this wick right here. And you'll see another candle trade down and then trade up from that. And when these two wicks meet, that's rebalance. The sign of that is you see this wick and then you see a bullish engulfing trade through it. If they leave this without coming back to this, chances are they're going to come back to make this happen, right? Sometimes it happened immediately. Sometimes you'll see like later on down the fact that this situation will happen right here, somewhere else, later on down the road. And you'll get your rebalance deeper into it right here. And this is what happened on this candle. So remember how this looks, right? We're gonna hit play. Similar situation over here. Now, this is a situation to the downside. We're at this high, we can't get above it, right? And then all of a sudden we have this long wick to the downside, right? So in the opposite direction, you're gonna see this long wick to the downside, up candle, right? bearish engulfing candle to the downside, take out this wick, up candle with a wick to the downside. This is a sell sign right here. And then you have price rebalance like this. In this case, you immediately had that happen in this area right here. Right? That's our first sign. If you get in, that's okay, but you can take, you don't have to get in early. So as soon as I saw this setting up, right? And I see that it came back to this area. This is a rebalance as well, right here. If this price can't hold this area, you're going to be looking for it to come back to this area, right? This is where the sell came from this area right here. And this area right here. Right? And you know, at least you can get to here. And at least you can get to here, right? That's number one goal first. If we keep playing, you see now price push down, right? Push down at or near this high, right? But it gave you this one candle, but not deep into this. So it pushed us down to this area, but not into it. And you want to wait until you see like the candles push all the way down into this, right? This is the entry right here, the return. Now we see this confirm, price pushes us further down into this area. And we kind of play around right here. Now, I did not see that big sell. I thought that we would at least get to here and hold, or here and hold, or even get down to here and hold. I didn't see the big sell, but it ended up selling off really hard because we stayed below this daily. And even when we came back to it, we rejected it and pushed down from there. So that was today's setup. And I think I explained and answered a couple of the questions within that explanation as well. So we're going to clear this again. We'll clear this again. And now we can go down the list. Sashan wants to know how to be able to have about my trading view, currency strength, and broker, and my computer screen at once if I'm able to do so. Could you elaborate on what you mean by this?
I want to know if I'm able to have like my broker, my currency strength, like on my computer screen at once. Like I can be looking at my strength while I'm trading.
I guess so. I mean, if you minimize, I don't think there's a way you can do it within trading view, or only thing I can think of is, just open multiple windows and just kind of keep it, manage it like this.
Okay.
That's all I can think of. I don't know any other kind of way that you would want to do it. Is that pretty much what you were trying to figure out?
Yes, that's pretty much what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Um, yeah, that's probably or just try to get multiple screens, that's how I trade. I have my laptop and then two other screens. So that was the easy one. Anna, I think I answered your how do you trade at the price high? But just some tips is as you see price coming and moving, as you see price moving, you're gonna get little areas, right? Like, see this area? This made a little on a 5 minute, this made a little low, right? It was taken out right here and made a new low on the 5 minute, right?
Yeah.
And then price pushed back up into this area, right? Rejected, right?
Right.
Once it rejected, it made a new low. It took this low out, made a new low, right?
Right.
It kept making lows until it got to this point right here.
Yeah.
And it paused, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that? Price traded back to this low.
Yeah.
You got a rejection right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got a rejection right here, here, and here, right?
Right.
What happened on this high? We
Mhm.
traded through this low and made this low, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this case, at this point, we finished this time frame, right?
Yeah.
But coming back up to the higher time frames, we can see this low held from the 5 minute. On the 15 minute, we traded through it, right?
Right.
And pushed up from here, from this area, all the way back up to where?
Hi.
Where do we come from?
Yeah. From where we started.
From where we started, right?
Mm-hmm.
This high right here that we had, let me go back to it, get the exact. This is the low on this candle is 4450.4. What's the high on this candle? 4450.4. It literally came exactly
From
to
here.
where we came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now that you see that, okay,
So I can say this is this can be like order block also, right? This blue one.
small, yep, small, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now this is the up move on the 15 minute, right?
Right.
Pay attention to this one. If we still going to be, if we're going to be bearish, we're going to need to push up above this area. If we're going to be bullish, if we're going to be bullish, we need to push up above this area.
Right.
If we're going to be bearish still, we can't trade, we can't trade above this area.
Mm-hmm.
So we take this high, we took this high out,
Mm-hmm.
we held this high.
Yeah. So it means.
We rejected this high,
Mm-hmm.
took this low out,
Yeah.
made a new low.
Yes.
When you see this new low got made, you need price to trade back up to either here or at most here or somewhere in the middle of here, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't hold, that's your sell right here.
Yeah.
Now, repeating itself again, this little high takes out this low,
Mm-hmm.
makes a new temporary low right here,
Right.
right?
Yeah. They did that. Mm-hmm.
Make a temporary low right here. We haven't used this yet, but this will be somewhere we use in the future,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can take account for this low right here in the future.
Yeah.
And we also got, what's this?
Order block.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
we used it once already.
Mm-hmm.
Right here,
Yeah.
a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then we also got this little low right here. So from this area, we kind of got to account for this whole little area right here. If we see price coming back to this area and it can't trade above it,
Mm-hmm.
guess what that is? That's another sell.
Yeah.
If we see price trade back to this area and it can't trade above it, guess what that is? That's another sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we see price cannot trade below this area, this is where you can look to buy from down here.
Mm-hmm.
It can't not break this low. So hope that answered your question.
Yeah. We did. It looks like all chart is mathematically calculated and then gone, right?
Yep. And now this will kind of go with whoever asked about point of control.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice the point of control is here.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see who asked that. Point of control. POLITA.
Yeah.
POLITA asked about point of control. What you're going to notice about the point of control, that is where the majority of the volume is traded, right? If you look at this area right here, you'll see this spike right here in this area. And let's change this. See this spike where this, you got this high, this yellow and blue represents the number of orders that are coming in right here. And then you have, we can throw this indicator on daily opening price. At the time was right around here, right? So we had the daily opening price inside of this node right here. And we had the point of control below price. So the way you want to look at point of control is it's telling you where the majority of the orders are coming in, right? And if you see that price is above this level and stays above this level, you can assume that they're trying to buy it from there because that's where the majority of the orders are coming in. In the opposite, if you see price breaking and closing below this level and hold below this level, and you see price below this level, you can assume that they're trying to sell, which that's what they did. If we look at another day, right? Light trading all the way in here. That's the opening price. Point of control right here. Price fails this, and the volume from this point of control sends the price down. We do retrace, to this area, but still pressure is on the downside. Look at this day. Here's all the volume right here. Price trades around this for most of the day. It breaks below it, makes a low, comes back to it, but it holds above it and pushes up from there. It's flat on this day. It basically hold this whole little tight range. This day, it holds it most of the day until it breaks below it and returns to it to try to reject it, but it breaks and closes above and pushes up from there. At one point, it was the point of control was probably in this area. And then we got this break and it pushed it up here and it held. And you'll notice that you can back test this over and over. You'll notice with this point of control is that it changes as you move to different time frames. And you have to take that into account because you're looking at the fact that it's accumulated volume over a certain time, right? So you may have 15 minutes saying one thing, but you may have the 1 hour saying that I have 4 15-minute candles telling me that it's here versus one hour candle telling me that it's here. But you just want to know where that is in reference to where price is. So if we look at what today is, and today only, we just open up the new trading day and the point of control is going to be down here somewhere. Won't be able to see it on this chart, but we will start to see that we get one created around here, right at 6 o'clock. We should start seeing that it gets created. And you will want to pay attention where the point of control is for today, going in this trading day, in reference to this daily opening price right here. If you see price push down below, right, and then hold this low, and you see the point of control is below price, that's implying that it could push price up. If you see it and it holds, like right now, it just created itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the price is above it, right?
Yeah.
So this is implying, like, as long as price is above this and it holds this, we're going to get a push up. We should get a push up. If we reject this somewhere, like this is the potential rejection right here. That's our first potential rejection, right? If we can come to this area and you see a flip where you see the point of control go below price, then you're going to have to say, is this selling pressure or not? Right?
I missed that. What did you say?
If you see price, if you see that you get a rejection here,
Mm-hmm.
and you see price drop below the point of control,
Mm-hmm.
that's a sign that there's selling pressure right here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you like right now, we see buying pressure because we see
Up.
price above the point of control,
Mm-hmm.
and it's above this daily.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if it's going to hold yet, but that's what's going on right now.
Got it.
Right. So I think that answered your question, POLITA. Amir asks, how do I get set up so I can start taking trades on my laptop? 2, how do I exit a trade or put the lot size on my laptop? That's easy. So let me close this out. I use a MacBook, and let me open this up and close out some stuff right quick. Um, Let me just switch it up, right? Okay, so I use a MacBook. What are you using, Amir?
I'm also using a MacBook, Cory.
Okay, so for me, I have this app called Parallels. I use that to install Windows on my computer. This is what it looks like. This is the Parallel app. And you can set up your computer to, look like Windows, and you can use it, the Trading View app on there. I mean, MT4 on there. If you need the link, it is like $70 for a year, but I just chalk that up to expenses. Get it to you. This is what I use. So once I got my Windows system set up like this, I'm gonna go ahead and install the Trading View app from whatever, the MC4 app from whatever broker I want to use, right? Hugo's Way, Osprey FX, some people FX Choice, or whatever the case is. And once you got it installed, which is just a regular download it, double click the exe file, you'll get this window that pops up. You'll actually get like 3 different windows, so you'll have to get to kind of set everything up to how you want them. You got the option. You're gonna have to come into tools, option, and make sure that you have trade, one-click trading on, or you can hit it from right here. Auto trading, you want to have that turned on as well. And then you can go ahead and click on one-click trading from here and get your price window right here. You can market execute using these buy and sell options right here. So let's just say we throw this trade in right here, right? The trade is in, you can see it right here. And the cool thing is, and the main reason why I like you guys to be trading from your laptop is because of how easy you can manage your trade once you're in it, right? When you try to trade from your phone, like you got to go into it. You got to know where the numbers are. You got to know where you want to look for. If I want to put my stop loss below this low, I don't need to know what number that is. I can just drag and drop my stop loss below it. Just like my take profit. If I want to say I want to take profit up here, I don't care what the number is. I can just drag and drop it right here. And if I need to adjust, I can come to this little area right here using the terminal and manage it from there, right? Is way faster. That's right, Robin. Like I don't know how y'all trade from your phone. Like is to me is gross. Like, like I don't know how y'all do it, man. Like people that trade real good from their phone, like I commend you, but to me, I go crazy. Exactly. That's another thing, right? On your phone, you cannot put in trailing stops. And let's say you want to go to sleep on this, right? And you at least want to put your trade at break even, right? Once it goes 20 pips. So if we use this tool right here, the crosshair, and let's say we want to go 20 pips in profit, right? You're going to look at these three numbers, right? You see these three numbers? Let me go. Use the crosshair, right? There's three numbers in the middle. 18 is the number of bars you're going from left to right. The middle number is the number of pips you've gone up or down. And then the third number is the price, right? So I've gone 18 bars over from this area to here. I've gone 35.1 pips down, right? And I'm at price 1.19005. So let's say we're in this trade like we are right now. And as soon as it goes 15 pips, I want my stop loss to move from that low to break even, right? If you were to try to manage this from your phone, you would need to know that 15 pips is 1.17276. And you would also need to be awake to do this, right? But you can right click on the order from the chart, go to trailing stop, or you can right click from the order from the terminal, go to trailing stop, come down to custom, and 15 points is only 1.5 pips. So 150 points is 15 pips, right? So this is automatically going to move my trade to break even as soon as I get 15 pips in profit. You'll need to check. You'll need to check that, you know, the pip count is going to be different depending on what you're trading. So you'll need to confirm what that is, right? Whatever that is. So like my take profit right now is 55.8 pips. My stop loss as it stands is 18 pips. This is MetaTrader 4, right? This is what you all need to all be trading from, to be totally honest, from the computer. And I can enter my trades using these for market execution, but I can also use it automatically gives you this, like, so depending on where price is, right, you're gonna get some presets, right? So if I'm above price, I'm gonna automatically get a sell limit right here. If I'm below price, I'm gonna automatically get a buy limit, right? And if I want to do some other things, like let's say I'm above price right now. I want to put in a buy stop. I can right click, go to trading icon, come down to buy stop. And now I got my buy stop in right here. This is the only time when you need to know where price is for your stop loss and take profits. If you put in a pending order, if you put in a pending order, you can double click it on the chart, put in your stop loss, take profit, or you can come down here and double click it, stop loss, take profit. Once you get pulled into this trade, you can drag and drop it, but not until you get pulled into the trade, you can drag and drop it. So you can just double click on it and just say, I'll just say my stop loss is going to be lower than my profit. My take profit is going to be higher than, and then I click modify. There's my stop loss, there's my take profit, and then I'll just drag it from there. And that handles that. If I want to put a trailing stop in, let's say we want to use the same thing. Come to custom, don't use these. This 15 points is only 1.5 pips. This 50 points is only 5 pips. Come to custom. I want to use a 15 pip trailing stop, 0. So that's 150 points, right? That's triggered. That's ready to go. I don't have to worry about that no more, right? And this is pretty much, I don't use my MetaTrader for anything else. I don't mark up my charts on here anymore. I just take my trades from here. You can do markups from here. They have some tools over here in this area, but I don't really use them like that because it's kind of antiquated. It's old, you know. You can do a lot more with TradingView, so I don't recommend marking up with it, right? Amani said, how is this possible? What's this program again? It looks so useful. This is MetaTrader. Robin, what's up, bro? 150 means 15 pips for currencies on trailing. That's correct. On SPX, it's the same. On SPX, we go to SPX, indices. SPX. Let's go to 15, just so we can look. Gonna enter a trade right here. Let's go with a sell this time. And then we'll use the crosshair. This is 26 pips, 26.3. This is 27.5 pips. This is to this low is 98 pips. So we're in this trade, so we can drag and drop at this point. We go here, that'll be 30 pips or $300 loss. We go here, that'll be 94.2 pips or $942 trade. Right. That's correct. So like if we want 100 pip move, we need to go 1,000 points. That's correct. That is correct. So we would come, if we want to do a trailing stop, in this case, we would say, let's say we want to do a 100 trailing stop. We would do 1, 2, 3. That's your stop loss right there. Your trailing stop is 1,000 points. What do you see that made you want to sell SPX? Could you go over? I'm just throwing in this for practice. I'm not looking at anything at all, Amani. I just came to the chart to open up the chart to show you guys something. Amir, that's you got it.
Yes, Corey. Thanks a lot, man. This is very new for me because I always use my phone and my tablet, but this is something I'm gonna get have to get used to once you start reading my other questions. But thank you.
Okay.
This helped a lot.
Let me show you something else too. I dropped this video in here under resources, trading resources. Scroll up. All this stuff that I just talked about, you can watch this video.
Thank you, Corey. I'll do that for sure.
Yeah, you can watch this. Here you go. Okay, so we can get him off the screen. I'm gonna go ahead and close these little trades. Even in my demo account, I don't like losing. Okay, and now let me get this off the screen too. Miss Tate. If a trade has been called and you're in it, but you see it's going in the opposite way, how long should you stay in it? Should that be a decision call you make, as in Think and Grow Rich? Okay, so let's use NAS for example. This morning, NAS, they called a buy on it. Anybody got the details for that NAS buy?
I was in it, so I should have everything on it.
The NAS buy was at 15. $0.30.
It was at what did you say was in at?
Somebody said 15,030.
Yeah, that's right. It was at 15,030.
Okay.
Stop loss was
1510. 150,010.
Yeah, that's one hit my stop loss. I put that stop loss in, and it took me out.
15, 0. And then the targets on this was
15,045.
I just want to know where the main target is. 15,045. That's the target.
That was TP1.
Yeah, I'm back up now. That was yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday. So this was the main overall target.
It was 15,045, not 75.
Yeah, okay. Got it. So this was the trade setup. Okay. So I think that I don't know what I don't know which time frame they entered on, but here's one sign, right? This candle never broke and closed above the entry price. I don't know what she used to call it from. Okay, the 5 minute it did. The 5 minute it did. Yeah, it did. Even over here, it did. Okay, so maybe she used the 5 minute. Okay, that's no problem, right? And then this being the stop loss, right? This is the rejection area. Once you start seeing that, you start taking out, okay, this is an area of rejection, right? Your stop loss, it closed, broken close below this, right? Now, if you get to this point and you still kind of want to see what happens at this area, you can do that because of this high right here. And once you start seeing this, you are going to be looking for one of those opportunities that I mentioned to rebalance at this high right here and that low. You're going to be saying, okay, if price comes down to this rejection high right here, this old high, it needs to stay above this and doesn't drop below into this area, right? Because in this case, this is a rebalance. And if it's going to go up, it needs to redeliver price to the upside from here, right? If it doesn't do this, you need to get out of this trade. I mean, at worst case, if you are not, I mean, this is the stop loss. This is at worst case scenario. You need to probably get out of that trade. You would have got lucky though, and it came back to entry if you had stayed in it. But again,
Yeah, you got to look at that area right there because she called that trade about 10:30, and we're at 10:30, around 10:30. Where you are is
right here. Okay.
way too early. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that's no problem. Sorry about that. Okay. So she called at 10:30. So it still was right here. Still 5 minutes. She still must have called 5 minutes, right? So it was around here, 10:30. Same situation though. You got on the 5 minute, you got this one. This is the candle right here. This is the high of the candle right here. If price is going to stay up, that's that same little, this is a little high right here. If price is going to keep going up, it can't go below this. It just can't go below that at all, right? This is the rebalance candle right here. This is on the 5 minute, right? On the 15 minute, you got this candle. It's a rebalance candle as well, right? So even if you go from the 5 minute or the 15 minute, you got price come down to this area and it doesn't hold and push up from here, you got to get out of this trade. because these are signs that it's going to eventually go lower. If it can't rebalance, right, what do we have? We had, like I said earlier, we had long wick engulfing candle trade through. Price comes down to redeliver, right? And it holds. That's cool, right? But the next candle comes right back down into that area. Right back down into that area. Now you need to say, if it's coming back into this area, it's okay, but it cannot trade below the close of this candle. That's the high, that's the close. It can't trade below this. What did it do? It came and it sat on it right here. Gave you a sign of hope that it was going to go back up. It even, if you were brave enough to stay in this, right? It pushed down below. It rejected. It came right back. Now, at this point, you got vectors saying it might go back up. So you can say you have a justified reason to hold this even at this point, right? It comes over to these candles right here. We still holding this point of control still. You even get this candle to push you back up to entry. At this point, you need to be, you could have popped down here, or you just getting out of the trade right here. We don't ever get a break and close above this again, even on the 5 minute. We got a break and close, but then immediately rejection, right? Going back to this area on the 15, come back to stop loss, right? Once we back at stop loss, we don't even hold this area again, right? We never hold it again. So again, we back out of this trade. Like there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times when you got signs that you should have got out of this trade. If you still held this trade, right? If you still held this trade, once you saw price below the point of control, below the monthly, and this low got taken out, this trade is done. There is nothing else left for this trade at all. Anything after that, you just hoping and praying. Because now you just broke structure right here. You really broke it on this candle. You definitely broke it on this candle. And after that, you just hoping and praying at that point. This should have been over and done with. It hit your stop loss. You gave it some time. It couldn't hold the monthly. It dropped and closed below the monthly. Guess what? We are not going to be coming back to this price for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if you have a large account, you just took a big loss. If you have a small account, you just sitting in drawdown and hoping that your account don't get blown, because you just sitting in a trade that might not come back here for a while. Because now what just happened is, now that it broke the monthly, broke below this point of control, your next barrier is right here. And it needs to come and break above this area. And it needs to come and break above this area. This area just became an order block right here. This low got set, this high got set, this low got taken out right here, new low made. That means that there's institutional selling that happened right here. So for you to get to this, you have to have the sentiment of the market change, they're gonna have to want to go up from here to get you out of this trade if you still in it. But you got this barrier, you got this barrier right here, you got this barrier keeping you from it. So this is probably gonna be one that you, if you're still in it, you just need to maybe you can get a retrace back to here and then close it out and see what happens around this area. But if you're still in it, this one should have been one you closed.
No, I got out of it.
Okay. I didn't told you before.
I know.
I done told you before, Miss Tate. Look,
Oh God, I got out of it before.
I'm about to come over there and have you pulling switches off the tree.
That's the truth. Learn my lesson.
I done told you, you can't stay in these things.
I know. I didn't.
Okay.
I think we all been there before, so it's okay.
Okay.
Oh no, Miss Tate though, man.
I know.
Me and Miss Tate done had some conversations before.
About staying in trade. I keep hoping and wishing and thinking.
I know you. I know I have to respect you, but I'll have you. I'm gonna get you. You know, can't keep doing that.
Oh God, no, my account won't let me do that either.
Don't listen to your account.
I used to do that all the time. Like, oh my God.
Oh, you did? Oh, thank you.
Never want to close out a trade. But that now's right where he said at the candle, I closed it right there too. And then I went into US 30 and got most of it back.
I was in there with y'all, but soon as I saw this, I was like, whatever.
That's exactly where I got out at right there.
I let it come down here and do its thing. And then I just scratched it, got on with my business and took the the SPX, and that was it. But I made everything up from that and the little scratches that we took quite handily, you know, so that's how you got to approach it. And let's see. So said, can you please show us how to label the chart with weekly open and close and session open and close and how it helps you trade? Okay. Today was a real good example. Let me get this indicator off of here. Today was a really, really good example of how you can use the opening and close, right? We will get these drawings right here. Now, I already showed you how you can do it manually, but I'll show you why it's important, right? So on NAS, our opening price was here, right? I'm gonna do it different. Opening price for the day was here. That's the daily open, right?
That's the daily open?
For today, yep. Yesterday, the daily open down here, because we're on this day. But I'm just using what happened this morning.
Oh, okay.
You can get the exact price. What is it? The exact price is 14,977.6. 14,977.6. I used to do this like every single day. You know, I didn't use the indicator. I would just come in and do all this manually. But it's good to do that manually so that way you can kind of just get used to seeing it and finding it, right? I'm gonna back the price up. Let's go to 10 o'clock. At this given time, at 10, we had this low. Daily low. The daily low was at 14. 958.4. We had the daily high at 10 o'clock. The original highs, we'll focus on these two highs first, right? Because at the time of us trading, these are the highs that are important. This high is the most important one. Because at the time of us trading, these two are the ones we need to be paying the most attention to, right? So we're gonna focus on this one. We'll add it up here eventually, but for trading purposes, this is the one we need to focus on. Okay, so we have our entire range for the day, right? We had our low, we had our high, and then we even made another high when we came up here and when we came up here, right? And the way you can use these is focusing on the daily, right? If we go back and we kind of consider, like, how does the market work and what do you hear people on the news talk about all the time? When you hear like on CNBC, on Bloomberg, what do you hear them talking about all the time? What do you hear them talking about all the time? That's a question for anybody to answer.
Someone just said SPX.
No, not so much SPX, but when they talk about them, what are they talking about?
How they reach their high or low of the day, I guess.
Exactly, right? So we as traders, we have to focus on that too. We have to know where it is, where are the highs, where are the lows, and it's important because the banks are doing the same thing. And they're basically kind of telling you, like, where are the important levels to be looking for, right? Once you understand like where those important levels are, the high and low of the day, you need to see and watch how price reacts to those levels, right? Whether you're at the opening price, you see at the opening price, price came down, made a low, and it held, right? Once it came back to the opening price, it broke and closed above that. There's also a monthly, right? We also have banks paying attention to monthly opening prices because everything about trading is determined about whether these highs, lows, monthly opening, weekly opens, yearly openings, hourly openings, 4-hour opens, all of it is determined by those prices. and it's giving you the swings of the market, right? So if you see price at a daily opening price, and you want to key in on this area for, you want to key in on this area. This is going to be like the main area for you to pay attention to. You got like a nice little combination of daily and monthly right here for the day, right? Break and close, we push up, we make our high. Now, where are we making this high at? What time of the day are we making this high, right? This high came at 2:15 p.m., right? That is a London high, right? So if we make this high in London and London doesn't keep us going up, and instead of pushing us up, it sells off, right? That should tell you psychologically that the first time there are an influx of traders in the market, they say that they want to sell. The first time, like during this time frame, there isn't a lot of volume being traded. From open to this high, there isn't a lot of volume. Let me show you what that looked like. Go to the volume indicator, right? Look at this. Let me put this in its own window. Can I do that volume? No, I don't think so. But I'll zoom in so you can see. Okay, all right. Our volume is here. You don't need to keep this on your chart, but you need to know how this is interpreted, right? So price open up, low volume. When the next time we got some volume is when we got this candle and this candle. And what did they do? They made lows right here and right here. The highest volume during Tokyo and Sydney session came right here, and they made a low, right? The next time we got the volume started to dwindle away, the next time we got some volume is right here. When we got back to the daily opening price, we got a spike, and that held, right? Once we got to this point, volume started to dwindle away, right? Until we got to London high, right here. That's the next time we get some spikes is around this high, right? London opens up. We get introduced to a new group of traders for the day. So everybody that woke up London in the morning on London said, you know what? This high is near this order block. This high is at a rejection. I like this technically to sell. So I'm going to sell right here, right? Some people and some banks took profit right here. They did that because of this area right here. This was the last time there was volume. This is the next time there's volume. That was the previous time there was volume. So when they close these out, this caused this market to push up, right? Still got a lot of volume, but it's starting to dwindle from this point on. Lower, even think about this, like here's a high, a lower high, a lower high. We broke this high. We took it out right here, but we never closed above this high, right? Made this high, made another low, took this high out, came up here. We never took this high out, right? New low, took this high out, took that high out, traded below, made a new low, took all of these highs out, and that's the new volume right here. What time is this? This is the pre-market candles right here. Pre-market candles push you back up near this high, right? And you're going to be saying in pre-market, if I can't break above this, London already said they want to sell. Pre-market does the same thing. But where does it come back to? Daily opening price, monthly, right? And it holds because these are magnets, right? These are magnets. These prices and these level are magnets. This is a monthly open. This is a huge magnet if you're holding and hanging above price, right? Immediately we get rejection candles, right? Now, we get volume spikes and the market is now open. So we've had the London session trade, we've had the pre-market session trade, now we have the open market right here. And London is already implied they want the market to go down. Pre-market is implied that they can't break the London high. It makes a new high, but it can't hold it, right? Now, New York opens, and this is what we had. We had the new high. We tried to break it again. We instead of breaking it, we just made another little high. High on this candle, 43.2. Okay, that's our true daily high. Put him on the top. He's the one that set the range, right? And at this moment, right, we got our true daily high and our daily low right here, right? This is a new concept some of y'all might not have heard me talk about, but you have three main areas, right? When you're looking at the range, your daily range, you have your low, your high, and then your medium, right? That's your equilibrium, right? This area right here is where anywhere.
That you got on the table?
What's that? When you look at this and you measure the high and the low, and you're at the middle, when you're above this area, you are in likely sell territory. When you're in this area, you're in likely buy territory. Once we broke above this and once we made this high, we came back down to this, we bought. Once we made this high, at this time right here, we sold. Once we get above the 50, right? That's a premium or discount. So I won't go too much into detail, but just kind of understand that, right? Now, once we have market open, right, we can't break this high that London made and pre-market made. We can only tap it, right? Telltale signs that we either definitely come back to daily, monthly, and hold this, or we're gonna break this low. We tried to come back to it and break it, and it failed again. And then your drop happened. Once you see the previous daily low, which was here, taken out, is done for. Is done for. This would have been your daily low that it made. So now you expanded the range from here, this high, to this low right here. Low on this candle is 31.4. Made another daily low right here. And then true daily low is going to make this low right here. Well, 8. When you start to see this kind of stuff, like you will understand like how price is like really, really symmetrical. Like you'll start to notice like these areas, these numbers, they really have meaning to them. You know what I'm saying? Like this, the number, like if you were to use like that like pending orders and stuff like that, and I thought this was going to sell, I would be putting a pending order at 1431.4 or just below that, right? If it went into, if it pushed up into this area, the next area that I would be looking to pop would be 14,958.4 or just below it or just below above that, right? If it kept pushing up, like, right, and I still saw that I wanted to pop again, I'm gonna pop somewhere in this area right here because that's really, really heavy area right here, right? So if I saw a price pushing back up, these are gonna be my levels to say, okay, oh man, price just came back in this looking like a juicy little area, right? I'm gonna let price come to this point and see how it look. Or I'm gonna set, or if I'm, or I might put a small pending order in right here and just let it see what happens, right? As long as it don't break above this high or this high, I'm staying in that trade, right? If it comes up, if it takes me in the drawdown and I'm like, oh, okay, I only got the little one in right here, I'm okay with that. Comes up to here, okay, cool. How is it looking right here? Let me see, right? What are we doing, right? Maybe I'm gonna pop right here, or I'm gonna just let price come up. But likely, because if we came back up to this area, you're gonna get something like this. So this monthly. That's the extreme, right? That's worst case scenario as how high this goes. If it comes to here and it keep going, void it. You don't take that trade. But if you get to this point and you see it stall out anywhere from here to here, this is what you're looking for. At least back to this. At least back to this. This is how a lot of times you can yeah, I answered that, Demetris, actually, but I also dropped that video link in there too. We went over it earlier on MetaTrader. You missed that?
No, I got it. It just it was a few more details that I got out of your video too that I had a question about. So I appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so just to reiterate, once you get to this area, you already know that's your low. And typically I would have put a pennant order right here, just a small one, just to see if this wants to come up to here and drop.
Cory,
Or-
how do you split your lot size? Like,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
thank you.
So depending on what I'm gonna use, I'm gonna split it into 3 or 4, right? Where, like, say I'm gonna use 0.5 or something like that. This one, this order might be a 0.1. This one might be a 0.1, and then this one might be a 3. Or maybe I want to be bold and just drop the whole 5 in right here or up here. And then once I get price moving in my direction, I'm just gonna close partial at certain levels as price go down. That answer it?
Yes, thank you.
So depending on what my lot size is how I would split it up. If I use a 6, if I wanted to say a 0.6 is my total lot size that I want to use, I would break it into 0.2s 3 times.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
So if I'm looking at this area, I got 1, 2, 3 situations right here. If this close above maybe this short-term high, I'm out. I'm closing all 3 of these, right? Or at worst case, I'm gonna let it come to here. And if it doesn't, actually, you guys can look at this as a trade setup too. This will be a trade setup I'm looking for. This is worst case scenario right here. We got 1-to-1 right here. Here. And then right here. That's all 3 of those trades. You can either just put alerts right here or put small pennant orders, whatever you want to do. But, you know, that's kind of up to you. Now, if price come up to this area, break and close, and you don't get any sign of rejection in between here, don't take that trade. Because that means it's going to break and close above this. But this would be the scenario. And projecting like the next lower high in these areas. Now, this could just keep going, right? That's a whole different scenario, right? But with normal price action, this is what you would want to look at, right? To eventually make the higher low right here. And if we are looking at just how price action looks, wouldn't it make sense for us to have had this lower high right here to make this lower low right here, and then to make a lower high somewhere in this area right here? Get this indicator out. Higher high, higher low, so you can get a clean version of it, what it would probably look like. Right. We look just looking at price action, right? We had a low, a high, low, high, low. Wouldn't it make sense for a high to come somewhere around here in this area? Just the way that it's been moving, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Dropped on 6. So unless it wanted to keep going down, right? But
Cory, one more question, please.
mhm.
So on the entry, like for example, this, if it goes up to one of your areas of entry, do you enter on the rejection of the candle, like the 15 candle when it close, reject that price and that line and close, or you go to the 5 minutes, or what time frame there?
You can do rejection.
Rejection, the
yeah.
15 minutes?
15-minute rejection, or you can go to the 5-minute. Like today, I dropped all the way down to the 1 minute and got the entry. But you know, you just got to be patient. Like, but if you want to, you know, and you're okay with drawdown, sometimes I'll put a pending order. Like I said earlier, I don't even, you know, if I got a small order in, then I don't really care if I win or lose that. I just want to see that I get in the trade and like give it a test run, you know. So it's
So you
kind of
use pending orders and stop loss. Do you put your stop loss also when you do the pending order? Okay.
Because sometimes like an area like this, it might want to come up to this and just hit that and immediately drop.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't, you know, I might not be awake for it. So I'll just leave this in small and just let it happen, you know. If it hits my stop loss, it hit my stop loss. But I had a justifiable reason why, you know, I just explained it to you guys why I would have taken that.
Yeah. Thank you.
And if I come in the market and I'm in drawdown and price is still at one of these areas, then I want to say, okay, cool, analyze this. If it breaks and if it pushes up to these and holds it, rejects it, okay, cool, I'm gonna add on to that. And then, you know, that's the rest of my entries on this trade. Okay. Determine to set up your take profits on the 1 hour time frame. How do you determine it? On any time frame you use when you're looking at targets. If you're in a buy, you want to look at old highs. So if I bought from here, I'm looking at this high. If I break this high right here, I'm looking at this high. It didn't break that high, but that would have been my target, right? Another area I could have looked at for targets would have been this area right here. So if I got in this buy, I'm going to look to break or reach this high. If I can't get this high, this little area right here would have been another area. And it came up to that. Once I got to this high, if I was taking a sell, I would have been thinking the same thing in reverse though. This high, I would have been looking to take this high out. If once I took that out down here, I would have been looking to take this high out right here. Once I took this high out, if I'm still in the trade at this point, I would have been looking to take this low out or this monthly and daily opening price. That would have been the next area I would have been looking to take out. Then if I took it from here, if you take this sell, you're looking to take this low out. Trade up to it, take the low out, take this low out. Trade up to it, take this low out again, made a new low right here, came back up to it. You was trying to take all these lows back out again. This low got made right here, trade up again. It took all of these lows out, and now it just took this out. So that's really how you want to find your targets. You just look at previous rejections and whatnot, and previous highs, previous lows, significant areas like the monthly, daily opening price. Those are things you want to look for when you're picking out where your targets are. It don't matter what time frame it is. I went over point of control, and then Ayodele asked about how to set up an account. The broker I'm recommending is Osprey FX right now. You're gonna want to come in here, set up your initial account information. And then once you get the login details, you can come over to your MetaTrader and add all of the login details. It's pretty simple. I think I got a video on that inside of the Telegram too, on the Discord too. And if not, there is also videos in the Academy, which you guys are using, got to use, that show you how to do that as well. So let me see. Oops. If you come in here, Academy, FRX, you're gonna trade on Android, iPhone, stop loss, margin, chart set up on NT4. That'll show you how to do it too. But that's really, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can just the only thing I'd say, just make sure you get the right version, MetaTrader. Because a lot of people set up MetaTrader 5 by mistake. That's all these questions. Does that answer? I don't know if IO is still on. Doesn't look like. No, IO is not on. Do you think your markup NAS, your markup on NAS will be similar to US 30? Yes, I do, money. It should be similar. Here. Yes. Where we would get a rebalance right here on the 4 hour. This is also our new order block. It's right here. This is our first area of interest. This is our next area. What do we do at these areas? Got this OLO inside of here. Got this down last up candle, made the low. We could get a rebalance right here. or we can have price push up to this low and reject, or this area and reject. If we get price to break and hold above any one of these, well, anything above in here, then you have to change your direction. And then you'll need to look at this area right here. Primary areas right here to here. And if you get price to break above this is an order block. This is an order block. This is a smaller one right here. The weekly is sitting about 50% of the body of the order block. So sometimes when you have large wicks on your order blocks, like in this case right here, right, you're best to take this and note the 50% right here to the weekly, or look at the body. There's the 50% of this, right? And you had the original 50% down here. The 50% of just the body is basically the weekly. So you want to key in, and instead of looking at just the 50% of it down here, you want to look at this whole range, because you have the 50% down at this area, and then you have the weekly price. So this whole range becomes a key area. From a seller standpoint, you are looking at this low right here. This is the area of liquidity right here. You're looking to see how does price react in this area, and how price reacts in this area will determine like whether or not this is going to be continuation or a rejection, right? Because at this area, this is the last hope for a buy right here in between this low and this high. This is the last hope for a buy right here. And if it can't hold this, meaning it breaks and closes below this, then you have to assume they want to take it down even lower, right? So to project where you would get from this low a lower high, you have to start right here, then look right here. If it breaks above this, you can still assume a sell, but those odds just lowered themselves, because now you've broken above 1, 2 order blocks, right? But you are trading into this rejection block right here, this breaker right here. And you could still have price come up to here and reject. So if you're looking at US 30, for me, US 30 looks like this. First area of potential rejection is right here. The next area is here, and then here. If price trades above this, then I need to wait for a sell from here, because I need to see what happens when price comes here and gets deeper into this area. I need to pay attention to that, because at this point, this could want to go from this area to the weekly. And if it does, you have another scenario in itself. You can have this come up to here, and then you would still be looking for rejection. But you could, if it comes up here and break and close and push up into this, that's a good buy as well. That's a good pivot move for a buy. And especially if you got in down here at the bottom or somewhere along here at the bottom. But for right now, just the way it's looking, this is right now. That's your buy. Then you need to look for rejection here. That's your primary. And then you got this area right here. And then you got this area right here. That's for now. That's just right here where price is at the moment. This is what I would be looking for. Now, if we get into this area and something change, then I gotta watch out. You know, I gotta pay attention. We could have something happen right here as well. If this rejects right here, it's going to be because of this little range right here between this old low and this monthly. That's another possibility. This is another possibility because we got this old low right here that got taken out right here, but we also could hold this monthly. Along with the monthly, we also have this order block that the monthly has traded, that has traded through the monthly and is held before and pushed the price up from here. So this whole little area becomes an area of interest for the buy. It's okay that we're below this right now, monthly. It's okay that we're below this if this is going to buy. We just can't close below the low of this order block right here. That's going to be where we look for this low to get taken out. Okay. So you can have short here. This would be stop loss. This one has, in this case, this is, you're going to want to try to get a wick outside of this low, right? At least a wick outside of this low in order for this to be a one-to-one. I would not necessarily be looking for this yet. This one has the lowest risk reward. So I wouldn't really be looking for him yet, but could you take it? Yes. This one, better risk reward. Still want to see this low. If it rejects, I would still want to see this low tap at least and then reject from here, right? Then this would be third scenario for the sell from here. Higher risk reward, still looking at this high. And then the last would be here. Best risk reward, but requires the most patience. Worst risk reward will likely, happen sooner than later, but worst risk reward. So you need to use the lowest lot size on something right here. You use the low lot size on here. You don't start stacking on high lot size till you get up in here in this area. If you get price to break and close above this and keep pushing up, you got to hold off on this. And you need to assume that you'll have another situation where you have price come up to this area and reject. But that's another scenario. I'm not ready to look at that until I see how price reacts in these levels first. I'm not even thinking about that yet until we get up here in this area. So how do you use mental stop loss? I think I explained it in going over that NAS trade from earlier. Going over that NAS trade from earlier. Where the buy was here, the stop loss was around here. And because we essentially used a mental stop in that situation, because once it came down to this area right here, around this area, and we saw that price came to it, but it didn't hold, our mental stop was that if it doesn't take this low out, then I'll stay in it. And it eventually took it out. So that means I close it and let it go. When you're using a mental stop, you can kind of say, the mental stop that I used this morning on SPX was this. I knew we had these highs, right? And even though we came to this high, we never saw price break and close above it. It wicked it, but it never break and close above it. So when I got in the sales around here and I saw price up here, mental stop says, if it does not break and close above this, I can stay in this trade, even though this is my actual stop loss. If I had got in here, this would have been my stop loss here. It came to my stop loss here, but because it never closed above it, I could be okay with taking this and staying in that trade. But if we get the break and close above it, then you're out of the trade. It's done for. It's done for. Just like these were the highs right here. Came up to it. It did, like, this was the entry initially, right? This was the stop loss, right? It came to it, right? But it never broke a close above it. It went about 5 pips above, and then it rejected. So instead of me saying, and that's what happened a lot of times, is near the stop loss, that's usually an entry as well in some cases. So that was the pop right here. Take it down for the move. I just should have stayed in this, and I didn't. I put a stop. I put a take profit, and it took me out. So that's where you are going to go with mental stops. Cory, I have a strategy on my computer with something like that, and a few more things I want to show you on how I can use it to trade. Yeah, show me. Show me, man. Show me, bro. Whenever you want to.
Cory, you're gonna love this. It's everything you just teach us. Everything. Let's share the screen.
Let me change the settings. You should be able to share it now.
seen this?
I don't see anything yet.
Sure. You saw it now?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, a friend of mine sent me this, and by just listening to you now, you just know I'm really getting to see what's it. Because if you see these lines, this is the daily high and the daily low. On each one. And I think you trade it, you were saying to me, if I trade it mostly on the 1 hour time frame. It have like a triangle system on it too. Let me show you something with this US tech. It's freezing up sometimes. Even the pin bars, it tells you when a pin bar forms on whatever time frame. So you could go on that time frame and it tells you. If you notice here, each day, right? Each day we hit the session breaks and you see the opening and close. So here is the high. Here is the low of the day. So like what you just showing us, and then these always pop up to tell you, for example, goal of a 15-minute pin bar on the 15-minute.
Okay.
So if you notice here, if it breaks out above this line, you could buy it. And if the pin bar forms and it's you see, you could put your TP to here because this was one inside bar here and another inside bar here. So you could set your TPs to these inside bars each time you're going to a trade.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's lined up pretty good.
Yeah, it is. But I just got it. So I was trying to look through it to see watching Anastasia's favorites. I was watching some last night, and this what you taught us today just kind of give me a better understanding of some aspects of it.
Yeah, I like this. I see what they're doing with this.
And then what the girl was asking, see, like this is like the
strength. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, these are like the strongest currencies right now, like Euro, then USD, GBP, and so on.
Okay. I have to look at that. Send me the indicator.
Up to
or show me where you got it.
That's not Trading View, is it?
No, this is on my MT4.
No.
Yeah, he set it up like that. I don't know, Corey. We'd have to link me back and let's see how we can.
Okay, no problem.
Link how we can get to it, and this is good, guys. Everybody could get something like this. It will help them.
Okay.
So let me know.
Okay. So, anybody got anything else before I think we answered all the questions, and my mouth is really dry, so losing my voice.
Thank you, Cory.
No problem. No problem at
Thank
all.
you, Corey.
Okay. So I will catch you guys around. Of course, there's no more sessions for me this week, but you know, if I feel like I want to drop some trades in there, I don't like dropping trades in the trade idea session. So I don't like dropping them in there because I don't trust y'all to know what I'm looking at. So that's why y'all don't ever see me drop stuff in there. So if y'all
Corey, let me ask you something because I noticed something I was reading, right? And it's real when I know get to understand it now. Like every hour candle, some people just trade out the hour candle, right?
on some people just trade the 1 hour candle.
Yeah, or off just the hour time frame. Sorry.
Yeah. Some people just trade it. I mean, uh, I would like for me personally, I would like for you guys to like not really like you're getting the same information on every time frame.
Right.
So whether you use 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second, you know, or the daily, it's really the same information. You just got to know like how you need to look at it, right? So if I saw this rejection right here on what is this, the 1 hour, isn't this the same on the 15 minute as well? Right here and right here. You just got to know like what you looking at and why, you know, you looking at these particular areas. And if you can understand that more so than like what time frame to look at it from, you're gonna get different. You can get the same entry on a different time frame. So entry and exit on a different time frame.
But what would it be like, for example, on a 1 hour time frame, the candle form bullish.
Right.
On a 15-minute time frame, yeah, you would have more candles, but that would be just like a pullback.
Right. So like, let's look at this candle right here. This candle, when it formed, it's bullish. And then the following candle, when it opened up, right?
Yeah.
It immediately pushed up, right? And up towards this area, right? There probably was a small wick at some point, and then it pushed up, right? But when you guys understand like rebalance and stuff like that, this candle would have tried to rebalance here, right? In this area, and then in this area right here. Whether it's on the 15-minute or the 1 hour or the 30-minute or the 5-minute, right? This turns bearish once it can't hold this right here from this point on, right? Then you can see, you can drop down to any other time frame to kind of check and see what's going on, but it's gonna tell you like, all right, this high on the 1 hour isn't holding. On the 15-minute, it ain't holding. On the 5-minute, it ain't holding. And it's the same information though. It's the same exact information. Like, you got to learn how to like interpret like what is live happening on the chart. So like, I think Kim has told y'all before, sometimes like, don't trade this Friday. Don't trade on Friday, but get up in the morning, prep your chart as if you're going to trade. And then I want you to start like, look at what happens at a level like this, right? Or look at what happens when you have inbound rebalance candle and see, does it redeliver, right? Like it should have done right here, or what it immediately would have done if it had came down on this candle, reject it and push up. Like start watching that kind of stuff, right? You see what happened right here on this rebalance, redelivery right here. Wick, candle trade through, makes the low, push up, reject, make a new low. Like just go and spend the day. You know, you don't have to spend the whole day, you know, if you still want to trade, but like drop down to these lower time frames, 1 minute, 5 minute, just to look and see how the candles do, you know, see what this rebalance and redelivery looks like on a live chart, right? And what your hypothesis would have been watching this live. Would you have been trying to sell this because it rejected this? Or would you recognize that if this rejects, but it holds this high between this low, this is actually still a buy, right? Or notice this area right here. This would have been a break and retest of a high, right? But, right, what do we have?
Exactly what I think.
A balance candle. Price trades back up.
Cannot be based in tradition. So I want
Price trades back up into this candle right here. But does it close out this? Does it close above that? Or does it hold in between these two areas right here? The low, the wick low and the wick body. I mean, in the candle body, does it hold that? It does. And then it immediately uses that area. It rebalances once here, twice here, and a third time right here. You come back down. Like today was a really, really good example of how price rebalance immediately and then long term, right? Like this candle needed to get rebalanced as soon as this traded above it. It pushed all the way up here and it didn't rebalance to here and it didn't hold it, right? This is a good example of what it would look like to fail a rebalance right here from this area between this high of this candle right here and then this the body of this candle right here. It failed, right? And then this candle and this candle, right? You can look at this candle right here as another candle that would have needed to get rebalanced, right? But I'll take that back. This would, you could have considered this as like a little 5 minute order block, and this also 5 minute order block. The low, a little short term high. It took out the low of this candle right here. Price traded back to it one time. This is around the 50% of this. This is also the 50% of this little bitty order block right here. Comes back up, reject. We tried to rebalance. We trade a little lower, right? This candle also was a potential rebalance candle right here. It failed this one. It tried to hold this one. These were the last areas it tried to hold. It couldn't do it. It held this one for some time right here. See, high. the high of this candle, traded through on this engulfing candle. There's the low, right? Look at where this low was made, right? We tried to hold it. We were able to hold it right here. It stayed up, came back down, able to hold it right here. This pushed us back up pretty nice. This would have actually been a nice little buy right here. That's where I bought before we got off the session, right here, before we got off the session. And I got stopped out, but you know, that's all good. I think I got stopped out on one of these. I had a trailing stop in. I wasn't paying attention to it. So I got stopped out on this little buy, but I'm glad I did, right? It just came up. Now, when you see this coming back up, how do we know this is not going to just drop from here or this is going to go up, right? You know that it's going to go up when you see price trade from here, this low, and then this old high get taken out over here, right? Still could reject from right here, right? But if from here, we see this high. Once it gets here, what does it do? It take this high out, still going up, right? Then we get to this little tiny little order block or rejection area right here. Does it trade through that? It does, right? Then it gets into this order block as soon as it comes in over here at this area. And you got a trade set up to the downside. Now, does it come up to 50% of it, of this one right here? No, doesn't. Does it come to the low of this one? It absolutely does. The low of this order block is exactly the high of this candle right here. The low of this candle is 44.50.4 right here. The low of this candle, you can see it over here, the low. The candle is 44.50.4. The high of this candle is right here, 44.50.4. Immediately mitigated this order block and rejected. And that was the beginning of the tank right here. You could have got in right here. You would have been cool. You would have went in a little drawdown, but not a lot. You could have used this as like your small order. You would have been 25 pips in drawdown. But at worst case, even being 25 pips in drawdown and you coming back to this low, that's 100 pips. This is 128 pips. When it finally made a low, you would have been at 200 pips almost from here. So I might even go back and rewatch this video myself because yeah, this was a good one. I have to work on rebalance. Yeah, you definitely do. Yep, that's your sell to buy. And like the last thing I'll leave you with is the last thing this is a bearish idea. Bullish. right? Think about this as a low right here. When you see this low, you're taking out right here. This low gets taken out right here. And then you see a new low made. This is your area you need to look for. Even if it comes into this area, you need to look for your rejection in here. From this point, the low, all the way up into here, you need to look for a rejection. If you're looking for a sell setup. You don't need to worry about this trade until you get near these highs and you see a break above that, right? Anything else, you should be able to place your stop loss above this high right here. And take that. Right? Sure high, right? Anywhere in here becomes potential sell area as long as we don't get a break. You don't look to buy this unless you break and close above this old high right here. And you need to have a justifiable reason as to why you buy above this old high, because that means that the sentiment of the market changed. And then you take this entry in anywhere in this, right? Anywhere in here. And your target, firstly, your main target should be to at least get down to this low. If you get down to this low, I usually take a big piece of chunk off right here. That's your main target. If it keeps going, I'm gonna stay in, you know, and I'm gonna look for the next new low. Now, same situation. Low, low, high. I'm going to be looking for high in this area, right? This becomes area that is order block. In this case, you had a potential order block right here and right here, but you need to consider this whole area right here to here. Do we come 50% into this order block right here? Yes. Is this around 50% of this order block? Just shy of it, but we still into this one right here, this down move right here, and then this down move right here. If you take this, you need to be looking for, once this new high, dang it. Once this new high is made, and you come back into this area, you're looking for price to make a new high here. And from here, your target needs to be primarily here or around this area. And you, if it keeps going, you want to trade it to make some new high. You are looking at this could be on the 5 minute, 1 minute, 1 hour, daily, monthly, weekly, it doesn't matter. This scenario and this scenario is price rebalancing itself. It just may look different, right? This area from this high to this low right here in this trade, it looks like an impulse push up on the 5 minute. But if we go to the 1 hour, go back. Okay. Impulse. This is the low. There's probably something else over here. Yeah, it is. This is the low right here. Push up, take it out, push back to this area. This is gave us a different, an additional thing to consider right here. Rebalance right here, right? So you would have had between this low, this rebalance, and then this low, right? You would have got this here. All this still apply though, right? But this looks like a push up, a push down, push up, a drop, right? That same image that I drew up there, it looked like this. Up, two, here, here, here. Let me do this again. The same image I drew up there was here, 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 here. This just threw an additional thing in this, but isn't this the same thing we just did up above? It's the same exact thing. We just had one more piece of information that got added right here. And we would have got the low right here and would have got an even lower low right here on this. We had this one little, it should have came up to here, but it didn't because we got this piece of information right here. This little candle that never got rebalanced. And then it finally rebalanced it right here. And then it dropped. It didn't even bother to come up here. But it eventually came up here, took it out, and dropped again, right? So this same little piece that I draw up right here is exactly this same situation with one additional piece of information that gave you a rebalance right here. But overall, it's the same thing. Low, high, new low, trade into this area, reject it. You would have got the low, the new low right here, and you would have got an even lower low right there. Just off of this right here. Now, the last thing I was going to say was all this is on 5 minutes. This is, kind of going back to what you were talking about, like 5 minute versus 1 hour. All this is, we just went over is 5 minutes. Now, same area, 1 hour. This just did a rebalance and redelivery right here. It didn't even, you don't see all of that stuff, but what you do see is price doing a rebalance and redelivery. You probably see it better on the 30-minute, actually. Yep, 30-minute. Low. Let me move this out the way now that we know where we at. Wick low. Bearish engulfing trade through. Price returns to the low. Immediately rejects. Immediately rejects. You got your rebalance and redelivery right here. And what looks like a 1 candle rebalance and redelivery, it's a whole move, fractal move on the lower time frame. It's a whole event on the 5-minute, right? On the 5-minute, we got a whole story to tell, right? All it is. On the 30-minute, on the higher time frame, all we got is weak low, bearish, rebalance, go. That's it. So that's why it don't really matter. The same thing is happening on all the different time frames. It just looks different. You get a different feel. Okay. So on that note, I'm gonna call it a day, and I'll catch you guys next week.
Wait, don't you want to give us this link?
Oh, yeah. You be on it about these links, man. You be on it about these links. Stop this. Naomi don't let you miss no link, man. Naomi do not let you miss no links.